Championship gold is on the horizon, and as the race continues tonight, as two men from the same camp look to do battle and take one step closer to becoming the undisputed PlayStation champion. Primetime returns to the modern day Coliseum to bring you an action-packed card that is headlined by two STK members who are looking to take one step closer to the champion. Entering first, STK Lewis. His counterboxing and ability to take the fight into deep waters makes him a dangerous opponent for many. From unaired to prelim to main event, it isn't difficult to see why he's one of the fastest growing prospects in the league today. But in order for Lewis to take one step closer to the championship, one man stands in his way. Entering STK MarsalRivial, a forward-moving pressure striking with kickboxing combinations to suit his ruthless and style-bending. He's looking to pick up an impressive win here tonight and move closer to the champion's doorstep to challenge for the undisputed belt. And so, with all that being said, fans and competitors alike, please take your seats as we delve into the card that is stacked top to bottom, and it culminates in a clash between teammates in the main event. Welcome to Primetime.
Everybody, welcome back to Primetime MMA. I am one of your commentators tonight, STK Reaper, joined in the booth by the Doctor, the Damien Moya main. Doc, it is great to be here tonight. How are you?
It's been a fun old day, but we're here finally. Us two are in the booth. As you saw, we got the main event of STK. We do have, I want to say, the owner of STK. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
You will go something with that. So, put a car and an owner, one, the two. Someone will later correct me. It's always the case, but you have that. So you have that. Look forward in the main event. Hopefully, very good analytic view on that point. That fight will be in the welterweight division, as you saw the main graphics of Edwards and Connor. So that's looking to be a striking masterclass. As we go down this card, we do have Lilo versus possibly a replacement. Sadly, Raraz seeming like he may be stuck up that mighty tree everyone knows in. So Driz may be stepping in for that fight. Either way, that's set up to be a banger. You got the main card with basically brought to be a #1 contender fight between Keza and Intro. Now that's going to be a hell of a fight. Both of them well veterans across the game, so you got to imagine if you're those two, that's a lot of pressure there, and that's just at the top of the main card. You can imagine how much it's going to go down further on here. You got Grains versus Noggin, that's a fight and a half. Shogun making his air debut as well, part of that KM camp, a new addition to it, so it'll be interesting to see that. And you have another member of the STK crew here, Reaper, in the featured prelim of tonight.
Yeah, STK boys are well represented tonight. You know, they're closing off the prelims and they're closing off the show, so that really does speak to how well STK are doing in prime time at the minute. But Doc, come on, you didn't mention it, mate. I see one name there. You know, it's that high-pitched name that I gotta say, but just for tonight's purposes and for Doc's ears, I'm not gonna say it, but it is TT Hoo.
Indeed, that's a fabulous guy there, notorious in terms of namesakes. It's always appreciated when you have unique names. Put it that way. After the couple of days, we've had a couple of G-Man show up, we had a couple of Shoguns now show up. I think we had a couple of Demons as well. It's like, it's a fantastic name, but please find some diversity. Go for your own, build your own brand, and for the love of God, don't change it, because it just makes everything more harder, and you kind of just lose the sake of building your brand. But before I get sidetracked into what your names are called, let's go straight into the first fight of this evening. This is going to be on the Xbox side, Kante versus Vex Group Core. I'm apologise for that butchery of your pronunciation. I'm notorious for it across the board. Kante being a last-minute replacement in the lightweight division, and by the looks of it, we're going to get a Max Holloway versus a Michael Johnson here tonight.
Oh, that's some diversity here tonight in the lightweight division. You know, Max being 4-star still carries up that volume, still carries up that stamina, Doc. And then you have the likes of a Michael Johnson pick, who he's like 3.5 stars. You know, that's a ballsy pick, that is. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see what he can do with that pick against a Max Holloway volume striker.
It is a wild pick, to put it nicely. However, he does have killer hands. He's got very quick hands for saying he's 3.5 stars. I think they go into like the mid-90s, I want to say. I'm not quite sure about his power. I'm going to take a guess and say it's about 87, but I could be completely wrong there. Holloway, on the other hand, as we know, he can't punch you in terms of power for any give or money. However, he can just go into your face, walk forward, and just death by 1,000 cuts here tonight.
Yeah, and that's the thing about Kante as well, because he kind of plays like that as well, Doc, right? He's very fast-paced. He likes to kind of pick you apart from shot to shot. You know, he mixes it up probably better than anybody that I've ever seen on the Xbox division. And, you know, you got this guy coming in here, Vex. I'm going to call him Vex Glue because it seems to make sense. I'm not trying to pronounce that whole name, but Vex Glue here is mixing it up well to the body so far. Kante is just going to stay in his face because he knows he has all the, you know, he has that, Doc, what's the word I'm looking for here? He just has that edge in this fight, I believe.
In terms of the fighter picks, yes, Kante definitely has the edge. It does seem like Glue is having some success here, landing the uppercut, did quite a chunk of that. In terms of the stamina, it's actually going into the favour of Glue himself, I would say, for the time being. I say that as he's slowly getting picked apart here by that jab, and it seems to be the case that this is going to be a lot closer fight than the fighter picks themselves would perceive it to be.
Well, that's the thing about it as well, isn't it? You know, you see a Michael Johnson's pick coming up against a Max Holloway, and you instantly think, well, you know, Max Holloway's going to steamroll this guy. But right now, Kante is kind of he's pushing forward, but then he's letting his stamina come back because I think he's realising he's losing a lot of that long-term stamina so early on. We're only 2 minutes into this round, and Vex Glue is just being patient, picking him apart shot by shot. He's working the body really well. He's really disguising it well, Doc. I'm very impressed.
Yeah, he's staying patient, and if you're Holloway with a pick like this as well, to go back to the pick, it's that sort of overconfidence that may lead Kante into trap periods. You've got to always make sure you respect your opponents. It's when you don't respect your opponents, you don't play like you usually do. You play too aggressive because you think you can just bully them out of the way, where it may become an issue. And by the looks of it, that's how Johnson's hoping to get to win this fight. Is he's hoping Holloway's going to overextend, play a bit too aggressively, and then he's going to capitalize on it.
Yeah, definitely. You can kind of see that by him as well from the way Johnson's circling on the outside. He really does want Max to follow him and come into that somewhat of whatever power he does have as he shoots there for a takedown. It's not a bad idea, Doc. Give him a level change. Give him something else to think about.
And the uppercut there, landing cleanly, shoots for a takedown afterwards, and this is looking like it's going in Glue's favour already. The picks, as you mentioned a few times now, definitely don't seem to be the case, but now Johnson wanting the takedown, evidently knowing that, okay, I won on the feet, I won on the scorecard, so let's not give Holloway a chance to come back into this fight, and let's chill out for the rest of the fight. Don't need to even worry about that stamina either. The couple denies there, though, by Kante, keeping that full guard position and being able to build up and get up from here.
Yeah, it was a very smart idea from Vex Glue to, you know, he got the knockdown off the uppercut and then immediately wanted to go for the takedown. It really does solidify the round. And there's another rock from Glue, and he's starting to push the pace here, doubles up on the body, now goes for the uppercut, Doc. He's really mixing up well. He's really giving Kante something to think about.
Well, I'm pretty sure both stuns / knockdowns have been made by that uppercut itself. So if you're Holloway here, you'll be wary of it. 17 to 23 significant strikes into the favour of Michael Johnson. Johnson securing that round easily, it seemed. But it's Holloway. He's got fantastic recovery. And here now, you see the stamina still fairly close. And it's not over until the Fat Lady sings here, Reaper.
That's very true, Doc, but I am looking at Kante's head health being a little bit lower than what it normally is in his 3-round fights. And it's that uppercut, Doc. That uppercut is absolutely money as he rips it 4-piece to the body. Glue is going off in this fight. He says, I don't care that you have Max Holloway.
And Kante's going, I don't care how many times you stun me. I'm Max Holloway. I'm going to stand here and just kill you by a death of 1,000 cuts. The block of Michael Johnson does seem to be suffering quite a bit. Kante suffering from a lot of that head and body health now. It does seem like Johnson's realised this to a point and wanting to go more for the grappling. He at the end of the first round got denied quite a bit in that full guard. Now though, he's in side control, but as I say, he end up in half guard and back into side here.
Yeah, it's very smart from Vex Glue to go for that takedown. Simple reason being he got the first rock and then he also got rocked. So he must think in his head, okay, if I score a takedown and hold position for the rest of this round, that's surely got to be mine, Doc, right? It's a very smart game plan right now as he unleashes hella ground and pound.
Jesus, that's very close to a finish there already. Now going to the half guard position, going over into side control here and a couple elbows following suit.
Yeah, he's doing such a great job on the ground. He's very fluid as Kante gets to his all fours there, and it looks like Glue is going to let him up. He's up against the fence, and Glue now is letting him circle back to the cage. I'm not sure about that, Doc. I would have kept on the pressure there, maybe a couple of jabs and then a couple of hooks.
Yeah, a couple of jabs, couple of hooks, a straight also coming in suit there, and an uppercut following as well. They're just having a whale of a time against each other, and they're having joyful fun here, to both of them, too, in fact.
Yeah, this is a great fight to start off the prelims here tonight on this lovely Friday evening. You know, you've got a Max Holloway, Michael Johnson. And guys, if you want to get involved in primetime, everybody is welcome. We will leave a link to the Discord in the chat. Please do join and feel welcome to join. Beautiful takedown again from Glue, Doc.
Yeah, another takedown that's well timed, and now he's back in that top man position. You saw how much damage that did previously. Jab, hook, straight. Kante struggling. The slip straight only just managing to get him out of position into half guard, but both of their gas tanks are low. Holloway's gas tank's lower than Michael Johnson's in terms of long-term stamina, so you got to imagine if you're Holloway, you're going to really having to go back to your corner if you can make it to the end of this round and really think about what your best game plan is.
Yeah, because this is getting into the danger zone right now, right? We're going into round 3, and you can put Michael Johnson up 2 rounds. Definitely now after that rock, he's definitely up 2 rounds. Kante really has to go back to his corner, Doc, and really figure something out, because right now,
certainly something figuring out, but the issue is it's just at the end and is a little bit too late to secure the round. Nose too short. Uppercut, lead hook, and a hook there as well. But the round ends. 2 knockdowns though. 11 slimming strikes to 27. 4 stuns though in his favour. So you got to imagine. I don't know. I want to say that's Holloway's round.
Yeah, I think Holloway did steal it. I think he stole it with the very the late
last
rock,
knockdown.
and then the last knockdown made it 1-1 for me.
Yeah, but if you look on the overall health stats already, this is definitely looking like it's going in the favour of Glue, having a lot of success damaging all parts of the body. Did possibly lose that second round up for debate. So if you're Glue here, you're going into this third and final round is it 1-1. So this round is the major decision here. This is the deciding factor.
Yeah, this is Humble's favourite round. Humble always makes the case for this round being the most important in the judges' eyes, and you can kind of see it now. Both men are really a little bit hesitant. We get 2 hooks there and 3 hooks, Doc. He's trying to break his block and send him home late in this fight.
Yeah, he's having a lot of success, and he's trying his damnedest to come back here, but I feel like it's maybe a little too late. If you're Kante here, you've taken so much damage already. I know you're Max Holloway, but even Max Holloway has a limit on his cardio and recovery.
Yeah, that's very true. And with the damage he's taken in this fight as well, as he switches to southpaw, Doc, I don't really agree with that, but Michael Johnson rips the body. That's beautiful from Vex Glue. 7-piece to the body, Doc, and misses 3 of those 7. You have to kind of think he got away with a bit of an easy one there.
He really did. It seems like the stun though, the straights, the lead hook gets the knockdown. Now into backside. All the stamina in the world from Holloway. He's looking for the finish. The blocks happen. He's only just survived by the skin of his teeth. He has no head tail for a block left. And Jesus.
Kante needs to go now. If Kante ever had a time to go, now's time to go. That block is done. It looks like he's waiting. He's waiting for Michael Johnson.
The uppercut, the hooks, another hook set. He comes down into this position, does get the get up, I think. No, he gets stat guard, and now the shot's landing down. Jesus.
Wow. Well done to Vex Glue. And that was very, very impressive, especially with the Michael Johnson pick.
Yeah, that was very, very impressive. He came out, he had a lot of success in that first round, a lot of success, and he controlled the fight, did a lot of damage. That second round, though, we went a bit more back and forth. Johnson went more for the grappling department, Holloway went more for the striking, managed to get those 4 knockdowns. And then in that third round, there's a back and forth brawl, what you look for in a primetime guarantee fight here, because that's what it was. It's only the first fight of this evening, and they had an utter war. Jesus.
Yeah, they really did, and I think it really goes to show as well that if you're using Michael Johnson against Max Holloway, if you're the right person for the job, you can still compete in those kind of fights.
Yeah, you really can't. You've just got to always make sure that you keep all your P's and Q's in check. You zig when you should zag, and you zag when you should zig, and always just making sure to be careful on any type of movement you're using.
Yeah, definitely. And this next fight, Doc, this has me pumped. B3 Pablo Grips and DB Conqueror. This is going to be a delight. This is just this card, Doc, I'm sorry, but it is absolutely stacked from top to bottom. This is a great card. It
really is. So, as you mentioned, DB Conqueror versus Pablo Grips. O'Malley versus a Sunsao. Interestingly, not Taz known more for his grappling prowess, Pablo for his pressure striking and aggression. This is going to be an interesting one. This is on the Xbox side itself, and both of these guys known for their individual styles, but it depends on how they put it together. I did say Sunsao, but he went Edgar instead.
I think that's a better option. Honestly, I think Edgar has more speed. He has more pop on his punches.
He's more takedown abilities.
He does, and exactly that's what Conqueror is. He's a great takedown artist. We've seen this man control people on the ground, but when you're coming up against B3 Pablo Grips, it can only mean one thing: your block is getting broken, and he's putting the pressure on you from start to finish. Doc, this is a very, very interesting fight.
Indeed, it is. Now, starting off with a jab, following with the straights, putting on the pressure against a grappler. If you're a grappler, that is not what you need. You want to be getting your opponent down to the ground. You want to put them against the cage, because if you put them against the cage, they have nowhere to run. And if they have nowhere to run, that means you can control that distance, control that takedown ability here. But instead, Pablo, being a true veteran in the game, constantly being within a foot's length of his opponent. Even though Maddie's quite long and would benefit from the range, he knows that the boxing can work very effectively if you just time it rightly and stay true and just keep your defense up high, which is what he's doing.
Yeah, I think what he really wants to do with that dirty inside boxing, he wants to hold Conqueror so close to the point where he can't really shoot, and if he is going to shoot, he's going to see it coming. If you're giving Conqueror all this room to move and he's pressing you, the takedowns are going to come from anywhere. But if you're continuously pressuring someone, he's going to have to shoot for the takedown regardless, so it becomes a lot more easier to spot that.
Yeah, it does take a lot easier to spot, and he's having a lot of success. Hook straight there, also landing another leg kick. Seems like Pablo's go-to move here. He's boxing up top, he's looking to dig up top, and then he's kicking those legs. A takedown attempt does get shot, but Pablo making the perfect read, counter with a knee in retaliation, does get a clinch attempt, but breaks away. Jab straights as he circles away from the cage, knowing that his opponent wants him against the cage. And it seems like Conqueror's the most difficult part is he's having a lot of difficulty controlling the middle of the cage, and then also cage cutting, and that's giving him a lot of issues. As I like, the clinch allows him to go straight to the back, going for the back rear naked choke, and comes back over here.
Yeah, and this is where you really see Conqueror do his best work, when he's pushing you in your face, not giving you a moment to breathe. He ends up getting his takedowns and then working from there. And as we saw there, we saw Pablo Grips deny a takedown, and it was a late denial as well, Doc. So now Conqueror has to know that Pablo has the skill and the wherewithal to deny those takedowns. So what's going to happen here? Does he deviate from the plan, or does he continue with his plan A, which is clearly to get this fight to the ground and work from there?
Well, he's had a couple of good shots so far. Overall, the striking, though, has definitely been into the favour of O'Malley. And I think if you're Edgar, you need to remember that Edgar's short, he's tiny, and within those boxing ranges, he's very effective. Because he's short, he can blitz you, and sometimes the best way to set up the grappling is to use striking. Sometimes the best way to set up the striking is to use that grappling threat, and that's what Conqueror has not yet been able to do in this round. He's not been able to get that grappling established to set up the striking threat, and that's allowed Pablo to do this, to feel comfortable in the pocket. The one big thing to note, though, as we close out the round, as Edgar get knocked down, securing Pablo the round, is the stamina of Pablo.
Yep, I was literally just thinking that, Doc. I actually had a look at that stamina when there was 15 seconds left in the round. I thought, ooh, if Conqueror gets him down and denies one or two transitions, it could be an armbar, it could be a mounted armbar, it could be anything, a mounted triangle choke. If Edgar has that, I don't know if he does, but I do know Edgar has. That was a beautiful uppercut. Caught him right as he was coming in. I don't like that now because he could get taken down here, Doc.
Well, he managed to get the defense. O'Malley having better takedown defense after the Yan fight, it seems, and he hasn't even been buffed. Lovely little side bit there, but an easy reversal by the looks of it by Pablo. He's making the takedown defense nobody's business, staying calm and composed each way, and he's seeming like he understands any bits of movement Conqueror wants to achieve here.
Yeah, and we've seen Conqueror be very, very dominant in his past fights, and now to have this step up in competition against Pablo Grips, who is just a marauder. He's a mauler. He just knows what shots he wants to take, and he even knows what shots you want to take. Like, look at that. That is beautiful range. Waited for the jab, and then the beautiful, beautiful front kick sets him down. He's using O'Malley perfectly here, Doc. He's not as flashy as some of our other competitors with O'Malley, but he seems to have a sensible kind of way to play him as he gets rocked here.
Yeah, as he gets rocked. Pablo, though, no more for the McGregor style, so you got to imagine that's probably why he's a bit more less flashy and a bit more just calm and collective, using him like how you would do just a long range fighter, and that works for O'Malley. Holy cow, that was a close one.
That was beautiful. That was beautiful from both men. Both men recognised where the other's mistakes were, and they corrected those mistakes within a half of a second, Doc.
Yep, now going straight down the pipe. The hooks as well by O'Malley are just having massive success. It looks like Edgar's finally made the read on the uppercuts, and it's looking like that if O'Malley wants to counter, he's going to have to use those rear hooks and mix them in a bit more. The head kick, Jesus Christ, comes out of nowhere.
He's really starting to find his range. He had his Doc, I can't speak English. He had his range found very, very early on in the fight, but right now in this round, wow, he is cracking him with everything he has, and he's putting on that pressure. He's doing the B3 boys proud here. Doc breaking the block, has him up against the cage. Looks like he's going to slide in the top mount here and look for the ground and pound finish.
Yeah, it has a lot of success. The only issue is with all the success comes the stamina is just going down. The good part is, though, with all that stam going, he has managed to, like, do a lot of damage against his opponent, so he does need less and less as time goes on. Getting the reversal over now into backside, but with the takedowns comes the issue of your opponent probably knows the defense quite well. As I said, that again, denied here with 30 seconds left. It's very little time for Taz to work.
Yeah, it's such little time, and I think Pablo Grips knows that, and that's why he's kind of being okay when he's on the ground. He's like, okay, as long as I'm not down within the first minute and a half, I can work, and then if he takes me down 30 seconds, I've already secured 2 rounds, and he's not going to finish me within inside 30 seconds, Doc.
Yep. And there we go. As the end of the round does, O'Malley gets back up to his feet. We've seen a head kick knocked down. I think we also saw O'Malley counter a takedown with an uppercut, I want to say. Was that last done as he got into top mount? I could be wrong, and it could just be my eyes deceiving me. As we went into the third round, it's looking like this is O'Malley's fight to lose. Edgar struggling to get any of the grappling off. He is now starting to make a read on the head movement, but it's seeming like it may be a little too late here.
Yeah, it almost seems too late, right? You know, you have Conqueror pushing the pace here, because even he knows now he's got to push forward, Doc, and he walks right into a beautiful straight. O'Malley jumps into the guard. Pablo Grips does not want any part of that. He realises we're less than a minute into this third round, and he can just take his time and have his way with him.
Doing a duck down, making the wrong move of the overhand. If he went for the straight, it may have stood, but the jab straight there, landing cleanly and knocks Edgar out. Conqueror looking more and more desperate as that time went on, and O'Malley just had his way, playing every inch to pitch perfect perception. That wasn't anything to do with Edgar. That was just Pablo putting on a performance and a half here.
Yeah, Pablo is one of those guys that if you give him an inch, he'll take a mile, and he really showed it there tonight. He came to win. There was no stopping. I don't think anyone could have stopped Pablo Grips from winning tonight. He just had that favour in him tonight, and it's sad for Conqueror, because he looked so dominant in his last 2 fights to come out here now and have that happen to him. But he'll go back to the drawing board with DB, and they'll figure out another strategy for him. Maybe don't pick Edgar again.
Maybe indeed. It felt like, at least for Concrete, it seemed like he's striking. If he built up that striking a bit more, if he was able to offer a threat, even if it wasn't that consequential, as long as you offer a threat to your opponent and it makes them wonder if it's going to be a good idea to engage with you in the striking to begin with, then you can start unleashing that grappling a bit more, because it's always a case of you build your striking as a strike. If you're a grappler, if you're a striker, you build your grappling, right? That way they don't want to take it down, and then you're in your home room. And that's kind of what Pablo did there. He made sure that every time, if his opponent wanted to get to the ground, it's going to be a lot of work and it's going to be too much. Taz, on the other hand, he wanted it on the ground, and so Pablo knew to keep it on the feet, and he knew where he was confident in.
Yeah, it's one of those fights where you have a wrestler versus a striker, and the striker knows the takedown is going to come at a certain point, and it goes back to the old school pressure, and you have to pressure a wrestler. You have to force the shot. You've got to make your mark on that fight as soon as possible, and he played it to perfection. But Doc, fight number 3, we have Temp versus Demon, and I'm very familiar with Demon. Not too familiar with Temp, I don't believe.
Well, I'm pretty sure Jay Dime is, so maybe we need to have a discussion with him. I've seen Jay Dime fight Temp a few other times. He's a guy still making his name known within the division, so is Demon. Both of these guys early on in their careers, possibly still making themselves known. And in the middleweight division with Kevin Holland and the Lyoto Machida pick, these kind of suits probably where they're at. Kevin Holland fairly only known due to the fact he kicked Jacare Souza in the head off his back foot. Lyoto more well known for the uses of, at least within PT, of caliber beating Tracy Winfrey, to put it in perspective there.
Yeah, you know, both of these men are great picks, and they get so overlooked in this division, especially in the prelims. Like, you really ever hardly see a Lyoto Machida even on the prelims, but you know, Kevin Holland's one of those guys that is long, he's rangy, he's got great kicks. I'm telling you now, I started using this man. If you start kicking legs with Kevin Holland, although his stats aren't that high, it does so much damage on a power kick, Doc.
I can imagine, dude. But leg kicks in general, if timed correctly, can do a lot of damage, and that's the way it goes. You have to imagine.
Yeah, and we're about to get into this third fight here. We're going to have Temp using Kevin Holland and Demon using Lyoto Machida. Doc, tell me, who does this fight favour, right? Because these two men are mostly known for their kickboxing, right? Lyoto has that karate style. He's like type of dragon type of guy. He has that dragon style. Kevin Holland's more of a, I'm going to talk to you as I'm beating you up kind of person. But, you know, you have to kind of believe Lyoto Machida is the more technical fighter. Bit on the more mature side, but the more technical fighter.
One would assume he's the more technical. He's got the footwork, he's got that, as you mentioned, karate style. As I say, a death kick comes out and he's just instantly put on the pressure there. Lovely little kick there as the game decides to have a bit of a stutter. Digs down to the top, then looking up the top as well. Heavy. It should be noted that they pretty much got the same kicks in a lot of cases. That overhand, lovely landing, and both of them having extreme amount of success very early on. Does seem like Lyoto's having a bit more though, as he fires another body kick to the body, working that stamina down just a bit more.
Yeah, you can really see both men want to push the pace here. It's like when one goes, the other goes, and they're kind of relying on those counters. Demon's eating a lot of shot on the blocks, where you have Temp, who is really trying to evade and counter. Both men really want to take the center because they believe that if they have the center in this fight, there's another dead kick. There's a Doc. If they start trading dead kicks, this is going to be one hell of a fight.
This is going to be probably a mental fight indeed to call, and already they're looking very effective and all managed. Another death kick comes out, a leg kick though by Lyoto, and if both of them want to work in their entire kickboxing arsenal, it would be a fantastic idea, because of whoever's the better kickboxer is going to have more success. I don't know what happened there, but he got crane kicked in the face, and now Demon is putting on a hell of a time. Temp struggling, only just managing to survive that block, got shot all to hell, so to the health, and now we're in a rubber guard position. Gets to deny a full guard. That's an impressive attempt. Now rolls over into top mount, and it's looking like it could be a deadly position for someone like Lyoto here.
Yeah, it's definitely intriguing to see if Temp will want to stay wrestling with Kevin Holland, or will he look to stand back up. But right now, Doc, he's doing such a great job of getting the noise, and Demon also getting a great job of getting the noise. These two are very, very well diverse on the ground here. Maybe a little bit too many get-ups in my opinion. Maybe try work back to full guard and then worry about your get-ups.
fake, look for other situations, but as I say, that Kevin Holland getting a bit too aggressive on the posture up, leading to the reversal by Lyoto. Lovely bits of fakes there. Does decide to get up though, and here we are now. He's got the knockdown already, so, and he's got 2 knockdowns. What is going on? How are you getting these stuns?
Yeah, I don't think I agree with that too much either. Maybe he's on the EPO or something.
Okay, yeah, that's a death kick at close range. This is kind of a mental fight now. Both of these guys. That was a very... Oh, I hope in hell hooks there as Lyoto swings whilst he's stunned. Both of these guys evidently playing some magician's cards as Kevin Holland does a 360 into an overhand, and they're having some serious just kicks. Okay.
Oh my god.
I feel sorry for Kevin Holland. He keeps getting randomly stunned.
Yeah, I was thinking that myself. I was like, I know Lyoto Machida was buffed a little while ago, but did they buff him to be Superman or something? You could say this is basically Superman versus Batman right now, Doc.
It definitely does seem like it in some case. Holland having a couple of mental stuns, struggling to cope with all the damage being given. Jesus Christ and a half.
That was a beautiful kick. Got him right down, sat into his full guard, went for the ground and pound, got very close to the finish. And, you know, coming into this round 2, it's just been such a chaotic fight. And the two of them have just been able to mix it up so well. And it looks like they're genuinely having fun out there. But, you know, it's also fun to win. So how about playing a little bit more, you know, a little bit more calmer now? Because, you know, you really want to move up those rankings, Doc. I know it's great to put on a show, but you need the win.
Exactly. You're always looking for that win. No matter, like, it's fantastic when people come out and put these performances on. But the people who... But as you see, and this isn't to disregard that people put on performances, because my God, they make a name for themselves as they do. Caliber, intro, adjust, and that's just from the KM camp, for God's sake. And now both of these guys, okay. Oh my God.
I feel so bad for him, and I know I shouldn't because it's a fight, but I just feel so bad for him, Doc.
It did seem like on several occasions through that entire fight, Kevin Holland was just... It was the wrong movement at the wrong time. Every time he got stunned. It's all it was. It wasn't like a massive counter. It was just... You have to wonder why he was moving at that point, in that way, at that time. And to be fair, Lyoto Machida completely capitalised on it. He capitalised on completely and just went, okay, I'm just gonna find out that right counter, and that's going to be the cause of your demise. And as you saw at the very end, Holland pulled back and just came back into a spinning death kick. Jesus.
Yeah, but Kevin Holland was pulling back that entire fight, especially early on in round 1 when Machida was trying to take the center. He was always pulling back and getting that uppercut, and I think he relied on it too much just at that particular moment. Maybe change up dip off to the side. It didn't go his way, unfortunately, Doc.
Yeah, it didn't go his way, unfortunately, indeed. We're going to stick in the middleweight division though, Reaper, by the looks of it. This is going to be... So we have Toasty Toes versus ICB Lepo DB Toasty Toes, just to add his company in. This is the welterweight division. Now, Toasty Toes, last time we saw him, it was against Warbs. Now, he used Lyoto Machida. Now, in welterweight, no, not welterweight, in middleweight, Lepo's pick is normally Nick Diaz. And so, here tonight, for one time only, it seems, Toasty Toes as Nick Diaz and Lepo as Lyoto Machida.
That's a steal. I tell you now.
They have stolen each other's picks. That's what has happened here, and it is mental.
Yeah, Toasty Toes is well done that just to piss off Lepo, and then Lepo's just gone Machida to piss off Toasty. So this is going to be a great fight. I hope these two just stand in the center and just have a great fight, because Lepo's known for these wars, and it's funny enough, you can actually add Lepo to that list of KM members that have made their names off of these wars, because Lepo is never in a boring fight, winner Lewis.
Yeah, this is very true. Lepo has so many fights under. He's a veteran of the game. He's former ICB. He's new ICB. He's well acquainted with a lot of camps as well, and from that has built his entire repertoire to be kind of this madman who will come into a fight and just completely have a brawl with you no matter what happens. Some say he lives in an igloo, some say he lives in Alaska. Nobody's particularly sure where he lives, but all we know is he's playing Lyoto Machida.
Yeah, no matter where he lives in this world, he's always here every Friday or Saturday looking to put on a show for us, Doc. And right there, as you can see, Toasty Toast gets denied from the takedown, and now Lepo with a beautiful lead hook taking the center of the octagon, just making Toasty Toast chase him right now. Oh my God.
Toasty Toes using the Nick Diaz pick, getting the death kick, now going more for the grappling exchanges. Toasty Toes known for his grappling. He's going to look to toasty those toes in between your legs, make himself all toasty and warm as he slowly grinds you down and finishes. I have just noticed though, we do have a slight issue. It's 5 rounds. Hopefully they can get this done in 3.
Oh God, I didn't even notice that. There's no way this is going 5 rounds. Absolutely not. These boys would be disappointed if it went past round 2, sure, Doc.
I would imagine so, but both of these men are known for their unkillable nature. Lepo, especially Toasty Toes, can definitely make it go 5 rounds if he puts his mind to it, and that does seem to be the case right now. Getting a momentum transition though from the back sitting, going into top mount, fakes an armbar, wasn't aware Lyoto had it, and we're back up to the feet. A body kick following now, and a lead hook also following suit. Head kick followed by the spinning body kick there as well, and having success across the rule.
Yeah, Lepo's really trying to mix it up nicely. You know, he's trying to Sean O'Malley him. He's trying to hit him with that flash, you know. And Toasty Toes doing a little bit better now, taking it a little bit more easier, back on his feet, working his knees, working his hooks. He's just trying to, you know, play off the back foot now. I think he realizes that his stamina was going quite quickly, and he needs to really start touching Lepo up a little bit more than what he was doing in the beginning.
Well, now no body kick. It seems like knee elbow. Okay. Lepo evidently annoyed by the knee elbows. Oh no. What have you started? Oh no. Oh good. We're back into the general boxing, looking like Toasty's having a few more issues. Does work that body kick in nicely. Both of them in very stimulants. Oh no.
I really hope it keeps up. I really hope they just Nebo each other for the next 2 rounds.
Oh God, I don't know if I want to see that or not, and it's kind of brilliant to see it. Another death kick coming out. These two evidently not a fan of each other, as what most people would deem as cheese is currently going on.
I think Lepo kind of started this. Doesn't Lepo every night before he's going to bed say good night everybody, I wish you all sweet dreams except for Toasty Toast? Doesn't Lepo post that like every night?
I feel like Lepo has done this at every fight in PT, because I'm pretty sure he did it for his last opponent as well, and it seems to be like his little mind games recently is every week and every fight he'll go good night everybody apart from his opponent. It's very strange, but you've got to admire the dedication to doing it. Lovely counter hook there, and he didn't get a stun, and it's looking like Toasty may have to change a few couple degrees as Lepo makes some reads here. It's looking like the head kick does miss, and that stamina deficit was massive nearly.
Yeah, that could have been dangerous waters for Lepo there, but right now you can see he's kind of slowing down a little bit now after that kick. He realized, okay, that kick did not go the way I wanted to do, and I lost a lot of stamina. So now let me get back to my fundamentals, my inside boxing, and then when he tries to move out, I'm going to kick him just like that. But Toasty just enough out of the way to kind of capitalize on it, Doc.
Have you noticed something as well, though?
No.
Toasty is fighting like Lyoto. Lyoto is fighting like Diaz. Have you noticed the fact that Lepo's using a lot of boxing, Toasty's using a lot of kicks? It's kind of insane, and I love it even more, just to show you how much this entire fight is based around counter picks. It's about knowing that Lepo wanted Diaz and knowing that Toasty wanted Lyoto, and it is absolutely... It's genius and a high fight IQ from both of them, but it has allowed for a mental fight here tonight.
It has, and you know what? It's been entertaining as well, and it's just been such a good fight, especially with the Nebos. It kind of adds that kind of extra layer to the fight, you know, with
They don't like each other. That's what we've established.
Exactly. It's kind of Lepo's fault because, as you said, like, he does this to every opponent. So Lepo's idea is to just piss you off before fight night and hope to God that you just fight terrible.
I mean, it can work. It depends on how annoyed your opponent gets. If you drive them off a wall enough, it's a good respect. Death kick comes out. It hasn't seemed to land. One in retaliation. A body kick also following suit. You have got to remember you got 1 minute 50 plus another round, and then you most likely got to knock each other out and then show us the scorecards. So it's going to be a case. Lovely knee elbow there, and both of these guys trying their damnedest in any way suit here, and knee elbows only just being missed. A minute 30 left on the clock, and both of them waiting for the right moment. A stun there by Toasty, digs down, doesn't get it, and the stun only lasting just a short while.
And you can really see it as well, Doc, right? You can really see the stamina here from Toasty. He's really so high on that stamina. Oh, beautiful knee. But look, Doc, look at that body health. Oh, my God. Doc, is that back-to-back kicks? Is that back-to-back kick fails?
Back-to-back.
Oh, my goodness.
And
the next one better carry that on.
Honestly, I think that was the fastest rage quit I've ever seen in my life.
Did he rage quit?
Yeah, he rage quit.
I didn't even notice it. So quick.
Exactly. Toasty working down that block. Lepo slipped off to the side, and that spinning heel kick came straight forward. Jesus wept. I mean, I respect the quick rage quit, but could you not please give your opponent respect? He's the one who's just knocked you out. Respect him for knocking you out, and let's see the slow replay. That was a crazy fight. Jesus wept. Okay.
Is that has to be one of the first times ever Primetime has had back-to-back deck kicks, surely.
I'm pretty sure it's probably one of the first. It's probably the first, if not one of. I don't think I've ever remembered any others. That's an impressive way to do it, and both of them were Primetime guarantees, to be completely honest.
Mm-hmm. This next fight, though, Doc, STK Cole versus TT Dino. This is an old rivalry, Doc. You'll have to excuse me a moment, but this has me hyped. We're going into STK versus TT territory. The last time this happened, Doc, we beat them 3-2. We need to go one up here tonight, so I'm hoping STK Cole can bring this one home once again.
So we all know which way Reaper's leaning, as you probably should have guessed, though, with the STK camp. Apparently they've got some history they need to prove, and this is going to be an interesting time. We've got Dino picking out a Jimmy Rivera pick, and we've got O'Malley in the hands of Cole. O'Malley should be noted, not typically, he does have Conor McGregor's posture, so never know.
And I can tell you right now that Cole is a Conor McGregor main. So I think that's why he's gone with this pick, Doc. I think he's gone with this pick to feel some familiarity in that stance and in those animations. And I know Dino did tell Cole that he was not looking to wrestle tonight. He was looking to have a standout war and a sprawl and brawl kind of kickboxing match, if you will. Jimmy Rivera, I'm not too sure if I'd do that, though, Doc.
I mean, it depends how he wants to fight. If he wants to be aggressive, if he wants to... It is just completely dependent on which way.
Yeah, as you can see here, Cole is really starting to dig down to that body quickly, and Dino's trying to catch him on the inside with those kicks. Dino's looking very, very good right here with these fast hands from Jimmy Rivera, and Cole needs to kind of keep that distance and just kind of pick him apart from the outside for the time being. But right now he's being forced back, and that is not good.
Yeah.
As we see STK Cole here as well, again going for that teep, and now Dino with a double jab straight, Doc. He's really fighting really well with Jimmy Rivera here.
He's fighting calm and composed, as I say, that he then fires off an elbow, digs down to the body as well, and knee, I'm instantly scared an elbow's going to follow suit. I'm pretty sure Manny actually doesn't have elbows. I may be wrong there. I don't know. Anyhow, we're now on the ground. Dino's known for his wrestling capabilities, very well versed in all aspects of the game, especially the grappling. And O'Malley, we did see he had some success at being able to defend takedowns with the likes of Pablo, but maybe that won't be able to transfer over with the likes of Limit / Cole here.
Yeah, Cole really needs to get himself back up to the feet. It's imperative that he does, Doc. If he stays here, he's doing a great job now reversing the position, but he's got to get up. You cannot stay in Dino's world because Dino knows the ground game inside and out. And using Sean O'Malley, you have to be on your feet and just like that, separate and get back to your counter kickboxing.
Overhand following suit and dig down to the body there. Couple of jab strikes also following, and with 2 minutes left on the clock, you got to imagine if you're Cole here, you want to probably try and get something big off this round. If not, you're going to have the next 2 rounds to work fully.
Yeah, and you can see Dino's stamina there, Doc, as well. It's still quite high. As you can see, Cole's just kind of dipping a little bit from missing more of the shots. And definitely the wrestling of Dino is definitely keeping him on edge as well. So you think he'd need to be calming down a little bit more.
Yeah, the jab there is coming to be established. It's looking like Cole's stamina going actually a bit lower than his opponents, and for a wrestler, that's what you want to be. That's paradise for Dino. If your opponent's got lower stamina than you and you want to be the one grappling, then that is no concern to you. It's actually pretty good news. On the other hand, though, for Cole, it's the complete opposite, and he needs to probably think about working the body coming into the second round if he makes it out of this one, as Rivera gets a side control here.
Yeah, Dino's done such a great job of not letting Cole get set. That's one of the things you can't let a kickboxer do, is get set in their stance and in their rhythm and gauge their distance. Dino right now is just grinding them out, making it uncomfortable, putting them in uncomfortable positions. He knows now he can go to the backside from here, he can go to top mount from here. The round can end from here, Doc.
Well, as I say that, O'Malley looking like the main winner of that fight. 2 out of 3 takedowns, 11 to 15 significant strikes into the favour of Cole. Sorry, my mind decided to go blank there. So it turns out, even though our commentary did look like to favour Dino, having put in more action, playing a bit more with the aggressive game, it looked like man actually went into the favour of O'Malley. And so now, if you're Dino, maybe you want to pick up the pace, maybe you want to change game plans, but say that couple needs that body as well. And a front kick to follow suit there. It's looking like he's just playing the game to perfection.
Yeah, Dino's really come in here with a game plan, and he's really working out very, very well. I am impressed with Dino. I'd love to see Cole circle off a little bit more, maybe work some of those leg kicks, and Dino with a beautiful sidestep rocks him here, Doc. He works the body and then just misses that hook. That could have been detrimental.
It really could have been, but another front kick comes out a bit too short with the stubby legs of Rivera. A takedown though landing fluidly and going under the rear hook attempt, but a quick get up against the cage could mean that O'Malley's out of here quickly, but he gets sliced with one of his elbows, and now we're in the back control point, going for a takedown of his own, doesn't get it, and it's looking like O'Malley's having some success, but as I say that, we get brought down to back sitting here.
Yeah, Dino really reminds me of Dirty Dave. Not in terms of the skill level, perhaps, but like I would say in terms of like just that grittiness and grindiness. Like Dino is the same game plan as Dirty Dave. He wants to hunt you down, take you down, and look for a submission. That's the game plan. And Dave does it a lot better, but Dino is vastly becoming a very serious problem in this PlayStation division, Doc.
Yeah, Dino is, and I think, if I remember correctly, he was also in the PlayStation Grand Prix, I want to say. Don't quote me on that. I'm pretty sure he was, so he's already known for that type of style. He's always known for his aggression. Formerly Xbox, moved on to the PlayStation times in recent times, and from there he's just expanded his ability and control of all things in both grappling and then also as well on the feet, and that's allowing him to have the success here tonight. He did lose the first round, it should be noted, so even when he wins this round, it's going to be 1-1. An interesting bug of the game there. If your opponent goes down or tries to turn and you want to go down, suddenly you get up. It's very weird.
I'll have to keep that in mind when I have someone on me back, Doc, in the next fight.
Yeah, I hate it personally. I don't know who invented that transition, to be quite frank, but it exists nonetheless.
Yeah, definitely, and it's something that EA might look to want to fix. Because
No.
Dino just lost it. Oh.
That uppercut, well timed as he went to the body, digs down the hooks, a couple of straights there following suit. 40 seconds left on the clock, and it's looking like Dino's going back to this ground and pound. Decides to disengage, knowing that Rivera still has the power in his hands, and if he can get the capitalised on the power already when he knows that O'Malley's going to be really wanting to be defensive and not put on the aggression as much. Lovely slip hook there, head kick following suit, and with 15 seconds left on the clock, this is looking like it's going to end up into a brawl here.
Yeah, this is definitely looking like a 1-1 type of fight right now, Doc, as the majority of them have been tonight. You know, Cole really has to kind of come out and establish himself in this final round, because this is going to be the round that the judges will take a look at the most and say, you know what, we have to 10-9 this some way. And it's the same thing on the Ultimate Fighter show. The third round, when it goes to that sudden third round decision, that is the most important round, Doc. So both men need to come out here and really establish a game plan. And for Dino, it's going to be that wrestling, a very safe and secure after a rock. For Cole, he's got to get flashy. He's got to put something in Dino's face and make him respect him, because right now, Dino's going to walk him down.
Indeed, it's looking like he's going to have a lot of success already keeping him against that black line, and that's where you want to be, especially with the shorter fighter here. If you're the shorter fighter, you want to have that distance control, because if you don't, I'm pretty sure Rivera's legs don't reach as far as O'Malley's arms. He should have tried to counter. The takedown, beautiful, but he should have thrown the counter. If he ducked that fantastically with the takedown, but if he ducked and just clipped him around the head with a hook, I don't think we would be seeing the rest of this fight now.
No, definitely this fight would be over, and we would be saying well done to Dino for a great performance in this third round. But Cole right now staying defensively sound. He needs to get off his back, Doc, and I know the ping will play an issue, because I know Dino is from a part of the world that, you know, Cole is from the UK and Dino I think is from somewhere. Somewhere.
Yeah, the Oceania region.
Yeah, so that's going to be the ping will play a factor, but nonetheless you have to adapt to ping. That's the main thing. I always tell people the ping will always be an issue in fights, because, you know, we all share this world, so it's just about how you adapt to that. And right now Dino's probably adapting better.
And it should also be noted that in terms of the ping, it's not that bad to play on as long as it's stable for the most part. In most cases, as long as it's stable, it ain't bad to play on. And you've got to remember, if you're grappling your opponent's going to be experiencing the same ping and the same issues that you feel like you're having. So it's just about making sure to make the right adjustments to your game as you do such, because they're going to be already made those adjustments. It's just making sure you make the right adjustments as well.
Yeah, definitely. And, you know, within these type of fights with this kind of ping, you know, you really have to make those adjustments on the fly, because you're never really going to get to experience how good or how bad it is until you get in there. But in saying that, though, you know, the stream has been great tonight. It hasn't stopped once. It's been really playing smoothly. So
I'd say that. That's just tempting fate at this point. Dino did get a couple of elbows landing in crucifix. Now looking for that ground and pound, and yeah. He narrowly avoided getting a finish by ducking the spinning heel kick earlier in the round, but then it was that crucifix position forced his opponent to roll into backside, and from there he looked dominant, and as you can see, getting that finish against Rainbow Tear O'Malley, putting him into the world of unconsciousness.
Yeah. I won't celebrate it, but I'll say GG's Dino, and to Cole, he looked great tonight. He just needs to get back into the spars and back into game plans, and he'll be back. I know Cole will want that fight again at some stage this season.
Well, it's always the biggest thing, and it's the biggest to talk about the overall arc of the way you see someone progress in PT, as I have done as I've commentated most of these cards for some reason. A striker is very good until he meets a grappler. A really good striker has really good takedown defense. And people always say it's an MMA game, it's all that, but most people prefer one or the other. Most people either prefer the striking or they prefer the grappling. And so if you're a striker, your main aim is to build that takedown defense. It's to build that entire game to make you a threat and make you difficult to take down to the point you can get the damage done on the feet, and then you're down on the ground, and then you can chill. On the other hand, if you're a grappler, your two main goals are takedown defense and building enough striking ability to forced to make your opponent flustered. Because that's how you gain a lot of the takedowns. If you look at Dirty Dave, for example, in terms of grappling prowess, he has that striking ability. He's by no means what anybody would deem a striker. He's an MMA artist through and through, a grappler through and through, but he still understands the ideas of striking. He can still strike, he can still use that ability to then set up the takedown. On the other hand, strikers, you have the striking and it works and it's always there, but you need that takedown defense to suit as well. And as you saw earlier this evening against with Pablo G versus Conqueror, that takedown defense can really open up a multitude of worlds for you here, Reaper.
Yeah, it really can. And Doc, you know what? You've literally just hit that nail right in the head. Everything you said there was so spot on. A great striker needs to have great takedown defense, and if you do not have great takedown defense, you have to have great wrestling to the point where you are comfortable to be able to compete with these guys on the mat. Same goes for a grappler. You need to upgrade your hands to level 5 everything and be like Charles Oliveira and gain a +10 in all attributes when you're hurt, because it's those type of fighters that really shine and have those primetime coming out parties to say, well, this guy's an all-round mixed martial artist and I can't wait and I hope to God he signs up next week type of talk.
Yeah, and I'm following on from that type of talk, it's also adjustments. The first round, in a typical 3-round fight, as you would normally say, you'll have the first round, which is the feeling out process, figuring out what someone's game plan. The second round, adjustments, understanding if this adjustment's going to work, is this adjustment going to work? And then the third round is where you implement it all, and it all sticks together. And that's why you see a lot of these fights currently go into that third round, because the first round's a feeling out process. It slows and methodical. Sometimes you end up with big, massive bursts of just carnage suddenly, and that's because they're still feeling each other out. And that second round, it's a bit slower pace, slowly increasing in that pace again, and then that third round is where it's all out. You have that hectic style. You normally see it go 1-1 because both people are making adjustments where they need to go, and that's just the way it sometimes plays out here.
Yeah, and those are the fights that we love to see. It's those fights of being like back and forth, and when the head health is low and the body health is low and one man has to come out on top. Like this next fight, Doc, we have got KM, Shogun and literally TJ. It's TJ.
Well, TJ has sadly got stuck up a tree, it seems, and so instead filling in tonight will be Winter J. Should also be noted, though, that Winter J is still using the name on the graphic, TJ Dillashaw, against Shogun's pick of Jose, the retirement Aldo, sadly.
It's Jose, the definitely younger than TJ by 2 years, Aldo, Doc, yeah?
Who's still retired. It's kind of insane. And sad to see.
It is very sad, because I believe he was doing some of his best work at bantamweight, Doc. He really found a home there after cutting down from featherweight.
Apart from being cuddled against the cage by Moran, above sea level altitude, and Aldo's not particularly known for his cardio either, so if you take him above sea level by about several thousand meters, whichever one it is, and you do that, it brings some questions to be answered. Either way, though, a touch of gloves and both of these guys can handle their cardio, as you hope, as we enter this 3-round fight here to start off the main card.
This is going to be a great fight to start off the main card, and it's at bantamweight, and you have freedom of selection. You can only imagine that Yan was banned, as the hashtag should be ban Yan. And then you have Winter J using TJ Dillashaw, staying true to that pick from TJ earlier on, really paying homage to him. And then you got that Jose Aldo picked up. It's really going to be volume versus power, and I'm excited to see how this one goes. I think this might reach the third round, Doc.
Well, both of these putting a lot more aggression than we're typically used to seeing. It should be noted it was 1-0 into the favour of Aldo as we start this off, but again, as we always mention, it's always different under the bright lights. The bright lights always change everything. You don't know, as a spar, a rank game, another league fight from another place. You're just never particularly sure, and that means it always changes at all times.
It really does. League fights change everything. I have fought people on ranked, I have fought people in spars. Nothing compares to the pressure of when you finally get your main card debut and suddenly you're like, what the hell is this pressure? I've never felt this before. Suddenly your nerves start kicking in. You know, you get the hype around the fight night and everyone's getting really excited and someone's talking about your fight, you're in your fight channel and you're like, oh God, I'm genuinely nervous for this now, Doc.
It is one of the more enjoyable experiences, the build up, the anticipation, followed by the complete insanity of doing it live, and that's what these people are doing, and it's just a fantastic way to just get better at the game itself. If you're looking to play that competitive edge, it's one of the better ways to do it. It's just, you fight the top tier people, you fight the best of the best, the esport competitors across the board, and that's what you want to be doing if you want to be able to maintain that ability to say you are one of the best here.
Yeah, and that's that fight day kind of nerves, though, isn't it? Like, you know, oh wow, beautiful combination from TJ, drops Aldo down, has him here and now. He's going to look to break on the uppercut, but it looks for Doc. No, unfortunately not. But Doc, that is one of those things, isn't it? When it's fight day and everyone logs on and everyone's chatting and everyone's excited for this fight and that fight. Oh wow.
Straight there, and now we come down. A couple of clinches following suit, and then the uppercut follow the hook there as well, and both is going back to the middle to brawl that hook and nearly clobbers him. An ill-timed kick. Jesus. Yeah, it really is, though, when you mention it. It's the fight day hype. It's that moment, and it's where it all comes through. And it's honestly one of the best ways to test your skills, is just because you're stuck in a position where you have those nerves as well, and you can perform really great in spars outside of it, but as soon as you put into a nervous situation, it really shows all your bad habits. As an uppercut comes out of the what?
Well,
I don't know what just happened there, but I need it in slow motion.
Hopefully they don't skip the replay, because I want to see what happened there. I had to kind of like take a minute and go, what? How did that actually happen? Like,
Aldo securing it, though, only just with the elbow. Jesus. The elbow at the very end after he got stunned, securing the round. I don't think we're going to get a slow motion replay. Kind of sadness. But I want to say Aldo got stunned. Dillashaw went to play aggressively and get a knockdown off it. And then Aldo just came out with an elbow. Yes?
Yeah, that's what it looked like to me.
How wasn't Aldo knocked down? But here we go.
And here we are into round number 2. TJ once again, Winter J pressing forward. He knows that head health is low, and he also knows that his head health is low, Doc. But he knows that if he goes first and he can break that block, it's going to force Aldo to have to fire back. So if Winter J can do that, like that.
Oh, the uppercuts. And that was what I was going to mention. Say, Shogun is lovely on the head movement, but it was just at the wrong moment. Winter there managing to affect the reads in the very early part of that round. He got knocked down at the end of the first, and that evidently woke something up, and from that point Winter could just make the reads, make the adjustments, and with that head movement, as you could see, he moves it to the side, and the uppercut is just timed. It's slightly delayed. It's not too early, it's not too late, it's just at the right moment, landing it cleanly, getting a knockdown and being able to finish off of it there.
Yeah, it was a beautiful read, and it kind of goes back to what I was saying. He was throwing first to break that opponent's block, and he wanted to get Shogun uncomfortable to the point where he had to throw back, and then TJ would move off the center line, rock him, and then the uppercut was a beautiful finish. Well timed. Looks like it had a little bit of delay on it, which may have hurt Shogun a little bit, but he did well.
He did well indeed. Up next, though, we have your favourite PS guy across the board. We have the man, the myth, the legend.
TT. Hoo-hoo.
Indeed we do. A man who was made known by Reaper saying the name well on in his very early in Hoo-Hoo's career. You got to love when he shows up. He's always a great fighter as well, part of that TT camp, Team Truth, notorious in all aspects, in which Draco Banger, an interesting guy, very new to the season overall. He does have one win, I'm pretty sure. Got a win against Demon Don unaired. We saw him earlier on his card, and so you got to imagine, if you are Hoo-Hoo here, you're going to go in with a bit of nerves, but you also got to be concerned though, because both of these guys, they're fighting that light heavyweight. It's a bit of an insane one, to say the least.
It definitely is, but the one thing about light heavyweight is you have so many diverse picks right now. Most of them are 4 stars. You're not going to see many other fighters apart from your top 4 there. You know, your Yans, John Jones, your DCs, those kind of guys. You know, they really kind of run that light heavyweight division. There's a 2 hidden gems, Doc, in the light heavyweight division, I will say, and I use 2 of them. One is Anthony Smith, and the other is Dominic Reyes, and I never ever see anybody using them.
Dominic Reyes? I would disagree. Anthony Smith, maybe. I was going to mention, though, Anthony Johnson.
Yeah, but then you got the whole thing with the stamina, and then he's stamina.
I mean,
is
you
terrible.
have Chuck Liddell. Is Chuck Liddell a light heavyweight?
Yeah,
Chuck Liddell. Yeah,
this
there
is
you
very
go.
close.
This is a very close camera.
Yeah, this is too close for me.
This is a bit close.
This is too intimate.
Okay, I feel sorry for the cameraman who's evidently just standing closer than the ref is standing.
It looks like we have 4 men in the octagon tonight with the ref, the 2 fighters, and the cameraman. I was not expecting this.
This is uncomfortably close.
I feel really uncomfortable. I feel like I'm doing something wrong being this close to the fighters.
How do you tell kicks?
Well, this is the thing about this camera angle, Doc. So I've heard a rumor about this camera angle that most boxers will use this in terms to really get their counters off right now. So Draco Banga is the one who is streaming. So you might want to see a whole lot of boxing out of him, because I believe it makes shooting for the wrestler a little bit more difficult. This is what I've heard. So it could be like a mind game.
Because
but
as
Jesus
a wrestler,
Christ.
you're looking for your feet. You're looking at the right times, and you don't want to get kicked in the legs as well. And so I can imagine this is definitely a striking camera. I'm sorry, this has thrown me completely. Like, what I was going to say, though, earlier about the Cormier pick is Cormier has no body. The man has no body whatsoever. So if you're Draco Banga here, you're digging down to that body consistently very early on. But you have also got to be wary, though. The uppercuts may come out, and you've got to be very careful with that as well.
Yeah, definitely. But, you can't count out DC at light heavyweight. He was the light heavyweight champion for so long. Then, lost it to John Jones, but, got reinstated. And then he, it's a whole thing with light heavyweight over John Jones and his mess-ups. But DC, although he has a terrible body, he's got quick hands. And he's got a spinning back fist as well, Doc. And he's got a jump and switch kick.
I was going to say, he's got a jump and switch kick as well. Pretty sure Dave won his #1 contendership way back in the very early days, beating John Jones like so. It's kind of weird. Either way, as I was on my uppercut straight there coming out, and it's looking like I don't know who's winning this. I'm still a bit shocked by the camera, to be honest. I would love to see how this camera adapts when you go down to the ground, to be honest, though.
Oh, it goes back to normal. It completely goes back to... Yeah, it goes straight back down to normal. It just goes back to a regular bird's eye view. An over-the-shoulder view.
Well, the chin health, seemingly very similar in all aspects here. Neither of them... It's very light heavyweight so far. Neither of them have landed anything big, but they've done a lot of damage because they both hit hard, and it's just that way. I feel like both of them are waiting for that big counter shot window to really explode. A takedown at the very end, showing off the beautiful camera that isn't 6 inches away from the opponents, which is always appreciated as we head into the second round.
Yeah, and I think Draco Banga won that fight. But Doc, the one thing I was thinking, right? I was just thinking this as I was watching that fight. Draco was very rarely fainting against the TT Hoo there. He was very, very rarely fainting. I wonder if that has something to do with the camera angle as well, being that close, because surely you couldn't be able to faint, because you're clearly looking for some inside boxing, like.
I mean, to be fair, from this camera angle, Jesus, gets clobbered with that hook. What I was going to mention was, you know your range pretty well. You've got to imagine, if you're that close, if you're this close to your opponent and you're like 5 inches away from them, it's like you're gonna know the distance very well because you can see it and you can do a very good guess. Don't know how he didn't get stunned as he went down to dig to the body and an uppercut came up, but sometimes that's the way this game works. Does work in a very interesting margin, but so far, Cormier getting the stun. Ballon's trying to build himself back up here.
Yeah, TT Hoo is doing such a great job in this round. He's switching southpaw, he's staying in orthodox, he's giving him all looks, which is something he wasn't doing in round one. And in this round, it looks like TT Hoo is not afraid to match power for power. He's actually moving forward a lot more and throwing very wasted little shots, Doc. He seems like he's more comfortable on the feet right now, and what Draco wants to do is really start continuing to dig down to that body, because Hoo really now is opening up, and it's looking really, really cool for Hoo.
Yeah, well, if you're Hoo and you're getting deep to the body, the best thing you can do is just stay in the pocket. It's like, don't back out of that, because that just allows him to get the right range on the kick, because that's where you want to be doing the kicks as they enter or exit the pocket, and that means they will struggle to counter it. And so if you're always there and you're always standing there, your opponent's going to have a lot of difficulty really getting any damage off.
Yeah, and it's really nice to see Hoo be able to match power for power with Jan Blachowicz, and now going for the takedown, Doc. Now we're in TT Hoo's world. He's got the takedown, he's got the dominant wrestling, he's just sliced right into full mount, and you can only think right now that Draco is feeling some sort of pressure in this round too, because this is the last place he wanted to be, and Hoo is getting pretty close right now, Doc.
Indeed, he is. Now though, he goes to the get up, doesn't get it as cleanly, and back into a side control position. There's a change of pace, and it's evident now. It's looking like they're not wanting to do this boxing side. It's looking like Cormier may be more adjusted on the ground, getting that deny as well. It could just be for a setup to get the get up, which if your Blachowicz is what you want, but Cormier making a read, and now he ends up looking for the reversal, doesn't get it, and with 40 seconds left on the clock, a back mount maybe isn't the best idea. He's probably going to be looking, but he's better off just to get some damage off overall. Just knee legs. It reduces your power a bit if you do enough damage to it.
Yeah, it does, and not many people know that if you hit the legs, it does do a lot of damage. And wow, like that uppercut just did a lot of damage, and here comes TT Hoo.
The straight there, wow. And jeez, it's a wild ending and a half.
That's a very big, very, very big adjustment from Hoo there in that second round. I would love to know if Hoo could let me know this after the fights. Did he have a cornering him? Because that change from round one to round two to when he started using his footwork to really kind of mixing it up and switching stances. I think someone might be in TT Hoo's ear here tonight, Doc.
Yeah, and that's another aspect of this entire game within the league fight. Having a corner. Some people love it, some people despise it and are completely against it. It's dependent on personal preference, but sometimes having that corner in your ear to just notice the patterns of what you're doing, to give you call outs of what their patterns are, how to make the adjustments, and what to do when shit hits the fan, basically, is fantastic to know.
Yeah, it really is. I've often had a corner for some of my league fights, Doc, and it's helped me tremendously. I've had people, not even from my camp, corner me. I've had people in my camp corner me with people that aren't even in my camp. And they kind of just come in to help me out. And it's so nice when they can see things that I can't. Because right now, Doc, as we're watching, we can see certain aspects of this fight that both men can take advantage of, but they can't because they're so in the moment. So when you have a person or two on a call with you and they're giving you call outs, you're kind of noticing, then you're kind of going, wow, this is really beneficial. So I think it's more beneficial to have it than not have it, but you have to have the right cornermen, the right people to give you that advice, because if you're like me and you're a cornerman that just shouts at people when they get rocked, it's not a good idea.
This camera angle is really interesting because at a distance it's out of you're then at normal range, but then as you get closer, so does the camera, and it's really interesting because you got to imagine, if you're Draco, you probably built your entire distance management and your ideas around it from the camera coming in closer.
Yeah, exactly, and it would be kind of a good way to find your range as well. But right now, TT Hoo has found range, and he has found
Jesus, the head movement though, Jesus, only keeping himself in there by the narrowest of margins, zigging and zagging anyway, in which Cormier struggling here, but as the round draws to an end, it's looking more and more into the favour of Cormier here tonight.
It is. Oh, wow. I think he might have got screwed there, not with that straight, not connecting.
Oh!
But here comes Draco.
I don't know who's winning. I've not been paying attention to who's scoring and which way. I've been just enjoying this fight.
I've been like, this fight has been so enjoyable. I did give Draco round 1, Hoo round 2, and right now Draco has stolen round 3 with that knockdown. Hoo needs to go forward, do what he was doing before, and just pressure, because that head health is low. Make him throw a strike first, pop your jab out, and just go, because right now he's... Oh my god, wow.
He didn't have to go. It was Draco coming forward, looking for it. The duck straight, coming down, putting Blazkowicz to sleep. That was one hell of a fight, and I really want to see the stats. Hopefully we get to see him, because that was just an enjoyable fight. I got to, like, that was a fun fight.
That was a great fight. That was a fantastic fight. Camera angle was a bit too close, a bit too personal, a bit too intimate. If we could change that, it's a 10 out of 10. But other than that,
I kind of like the camera angle to the end, to be honest.
Man, you tell me you want to watch that. Yeah,
I wouldn't ever want to play on it, but I honestly enjoyed it. As you can see, though, it's fairly competitive. 55 out of 200 strikes landed by Jan Blazkowicz overall, though 10 out of 50. The striking accuracy leaves a lot to be desired, I'll be honest. That's definitely something that Blazkowicz is going to have to work on in the end, especially with such a close camera angle. You expect a bit, maybe a bit of a higher percentage, but sometimes that's the case. He's fairly new to the game, still developing his style. That maybe be something he wants to have a look at to really adjust to. On the other hand, he played fantastic across the board, well adjusted in all sense, used that grappling, as you mentioned, in round 2, and he had a fantastic time there.
Yeah, Hoo had a really kind of... See, the thing about it is, though, Doc, I was saying Hoo had a rocky round 1, right? The judges gave him round 1. So I'm kind of thinking, was I watching the wrong fight? Or was the camera angle just too close for me to see what was actually happening? But I actually gave Draco round 1. And then when I seen Hoo came out with the counter footwork, the jab straights, and then using that beautiful wrestling, I was thinking he has to have someone in his ear. Because if he didn't have someone in his ear, that's very, very good fight IQ from Hoo, so fair play for that. And Draco looked great as well, but just not at that camera angle.
You're really against that camera angle, aren't you?
Mate, I never want to see that again. That was too close.
Draco may have made an enemy in STK Reaper here tonight, but nonetheless, we shall move on with the rest of our fights. Up next in our co-main? Yeah, we'll run with that.
Chocolate cocoa.
We will have Vex Grains versus DB's own Noggin. This is going to be in the lightweight division, and from what I'm seeing, we're going to get our first live glimpse of Mr. 5-star Islam Makhachev.
Okay, interesting. This is going to be very, very interesting. A recently buffed Islam Makhachev, the brand new lightweight champion who beat the Charles Du Bronx Oliveira.
The only person to get buffed, which is even more irritating.
Yeah, but you see, if you buff O'Malley, you have to debuff Jan. Do you know what I mean?
Do that then.
Yeah, I'd love that. I would love that.
I don't know who wouldn't love that, to be honest. Especially
people
from a
who use
competitive... I mean, even from a competitive sense, and Ariel, people who use Jan will probably get fed up of using Jan because he's kind of the only person you can use.
Yeah, that's true as well. I personally prefer Rob Font.
That's because you love Kobe Covington.
Yeah. I love Kobe.
I don't.
You're just a hater. That's your problem.
I don't need to spite you. Anyhow, moving back to this fight before I still ends up in a weird debate over Kobe Covington being good or not. He isn't, by the way. Makhachev, an odd choice by Noggin. He's a striker through and through. He could have picked McGregor. He got to assume McGregor was banned, and he got to assume the Grains then picked Dustin Poirier, leaving Noggin to have a weird issue where he's kind of in a position where he can't go typical strikers, apart from maybe Makhachev, who's got really good hands. He's got 94 striking and power, actually, I'm not mistaken, with a level 2 jab, which makes it really fluid.
Yeah, he's literally able to stand with the best of the best in this division. Like, let's be realistic, okay? In real life, Islam Makhachev can stand with any man because he has that threat of the takedown. It's the same thing when Dustin Poirier fought Khabib. Nurmagomedov's hands looked fantastic because Poirier was so afraid of the takedown. It's the same thing now in this game, but it's just amplified by 100 now that he has that major update. And it's one of those things where you're going to see a lot more Islam Makhachevs. And a big shout out to Dirty Dave, because he's the first man to use Islam in a sense before he was buffed. And oh wow, as I'm talking about.
Oh Jesus, that overhand only just nearly going through the block, having a quick enough time to recover, engaging in the striking, Noggin trying all for his damnedest, but he's struggling to really get anything going here, and Grains is having an easy time just coming forward, figuring out the range and sticking all this pressure on here.
Yeah, the one thing I'm seeing here is Grains, when he has him backed up against the fence, he's moving out, and Noggin's throwing as he's moving out, and it's kind of making me nervous because I can see Grains stepping back and landing with a head kick.
Takedown attempt lands cleanly and superbly there. That is what you want to be if you're Noggin, but now you've got to get somewhere else. You've got to land damage, you've got to be significant, especially with a stun not going into your favour. I don't think it would knockdown has happened yet, which means it's still applicable, but to win this round without getting a stun on the ground is going to be very hard. Even then, he's having difficulty landing anything significant here tonight.
Yeah, he has such a hard time because Grains has been so pressure heavy, and being able to just have that pressure with the hand strength of Poirier to know that you're going to be okay up in the pocket, you know, you're going to be a-okay. And now he's getting reversed now, and now we have Grains on top, and Grains is looking like the better wrestler here, Doc.
Yeah, he is. He's more fluid. He's landed those cylinder strikes, and that's what you want to do if you want to make a statement across the board. If you're fighting someone like Makhachev, if you're fighting a pick like Makhachev, not someone like Makhachev, if you're fighting the pick on Makhachev, if you can establish dominance in both the grappling and the striking sense, you're going to have a lot cleaner time, a lot more fluidity, and be able to control it a lot more.
Yeah, exactly. That's the nail on the head. If you're using Islam Makhachev, you need to go forward and put hands to face and then mixing your takedowns. It's the classic wrestler, Doc. We've seen it all night. We've seen it all night to the point where the strikers are pressuring and the wrestlers are allowing to be pressuring. Apart from the Dino fight, all the wrestlers up tonight have been pressured. And now look at this, Doc. Grains going for the takedown, clearly feeling very comfortable right now in Noggin's own world.
Yeah, he wants to make himself established, and I would say it's not Noggin's normal world either. Noggin's a striker. That's what Noggin is. One of his weakest area is the grappling, so you've got to imagine if you're Noggin, you've evidently been working on that grappling and come out here tonight to showcase it. But Grains, a normal striker, normal pressure boxing striker, evidently has been working on his grappling as well. So he's come out here with two strikers who are now in his wrestling world, and it's looking like Grains is the more advanced of the grapplers.
Yeah, you see, the thing is, when you're using a wrestler, a predominant grapple-heavy wrestler with a very high top control, you need to be a wrestler yourself. Like, you need to be the likes like Dirty Dave, and even Trixie. Trixie, I've always said it, has probably got some of the most underrated wrestling in this community because he's such a great kickboxer, and he loves to put on a show. But when he gets you down, it's end of story, it's Nente, you're going nowhere. But for the likes of Noggin in this fight, if he really just didn't want to wrestle, and he knew he could force a stand-up fight, I probably would have went Justin Gaethje if McGregor was banned. Yeah,
no, Gaethje would have been a good pick. He's got leg kicks, he's got the head kick. He does have a front kick, interestingly enough, though. And yeah, Gaethje may have been an idea here. He can brawl. He's up for standing with it. I kind of forget he exists, to be completely honest. And as we see here now, it's looking like Grains, yeah, didn't have as much success as he was hoping, but he definitely doesn't care to waste time. He's just coming forward, looking to put on all this pressure, and if you're Noggin here, it's just trying to fire back and making sure you don't get counted at the same time to try to establish some type of offense to act as defense. And the uppercut, the hooks, the uppercut there, and now the finish.
Was very, very high level stuff from Grains there. He took the wrestler down. He made him feel uncomfortable to the point where he had to stand with him because he knew that standing with him was in his wheelhouse. It was very good. He beat him in all areas and really forced a stand-up war. But Noggin did look good as well. He did get the head held down. He did have some good success. I just feel if he went with a kickboxer, he may have had a bit more success, and we may be having a different conversation, Doc.
Yeah, you got to imagine it's just all about that ability to strike. It's that calmness. It's what we've always discussed about grapplers throughout this entire card. It seems to have followed us as we've gone on. Is a grappler's ability to grapple is only determined by their ability to take the fight down. And Noggin did that, and it was fine. But as a striker, typically that grappling ability wasn't there to be able to flourish, and Grains was able to counter that grappling. So it's always about making the right options at the right times against the right opponent. In other circumstances, Noggin could probably grapple other opponents, but Grains was different. He understood all the techniques he was trying to fight against and use, and because he's been in that position himself, he started out a striker, and so that gives him that perspective the same way Noggin would have if someone else came at him and tried to grapple him as a striker. Typically it's that case of always being aware. It's knowing how your opponent fights, and some cases it works beautifully, in some cases it doesn't, like that fight did.
Yeah, and this is why prime time is so great. You're always going to get the prime time guarantee. You're always going to have these great cards. But Doc, I will say, in terms of like the last 2 seasons, we've seen people rise to almost stardom and become really well-known pillars in the community. You've had the likes of your Suave Jamies and your Blakes and even your Zoyafs, right? We have all those guys. They're set in stone, and your Romeros, they're all set in stone. But you're seeing people now, Doc, really rising through the ranks of prime time, and they're becoming superstars. The last person that was so dominant as a PlayStation champion was UFC Turkey, was Anakin, and now you have the likes of Smother, who was just destroying competition. And this is possibly the best talent stack that Prime Time has ever been, and it's really forming well tonight. People are just like multiplying their levels weekly at this point.
Yeah, it is really interesting to see, not just in across the board and how people get better, but seeing that skill cap be hit and then moved up as people get better and better. And with a lot of these fights as you've seen tonight and tomorrow as well in the pay-per-view, it's just they always get better, and it gets to the point where you struggle to find a bad card, where like even when you look at it you go, some of these names you don't particularly know, but then as soon as you watch the fight it's like, oh okay, I should pay attention to this name. It's kind of mental.
Yeah, like people are literally coming out of nowhere, and then they're just being like, okay, they do unearned and they win 2 fights. They go into prelims. They do 2 fights in the prelims. They go into the main card and then the main event. And that's essentially what's happened here tonight with Lewis, which is pretty cool to see, actually.
Yeah, Lewis is relatively unknown, to be honest. Like, he's still making a name for himself. He came in through unaired, had a couple of prelim fights. I'm not going to lie, I can't remember at the top of my head. I've seen a lot. I've seen too many fights in the last 3-4 weeks. Sometimes they all blur into one, but now seeing him there against MarsalRivial, and now that guy's been around since the start. He's formerly known as MarsalRivial Raw. You picked him up in part of the STK camp, and look at where he is now. He's made adjustments across the board. We did have Rara in the co-main. Sadly though, he doesn't seem to be here, so instead we're going to have a new up-and-comer like Rara, not like Rara, but a new up-and-comer by the name of Driz. He's fighting on tomorrow's card as well, so if he does well, only adds money to his propositions for tomorrow's fight. Lilo, though, 2-0. Had a fantastic fight last week against Austin, looked dominant with striking, with using GSP, and that's a fight and a half nonetheless. But before we get to those last two fights of this evening, let's finish off our main card with Keza versus Intro. Keza part of the FSD camp, Intro part of the KM camp. This is going to be in featherweight. Now, there was some discussion over who was going to have the next title shot, and Keza was definitely in that picture, having won a main event against Driz. This fight got moved a couple of rounds. It's been moved a bit, and so that's why it's now on the fight night. It was really on a pay-per-view, ended up getting moved here. That's why Driz is above him. That co-main was already set in place. And so here we are with these two who are quite possibly in the number one contender spot. They are two of the highest rated Xbox members, and they've got 3 rounds here tonight to prove who's going to arguably be the next one in line for a shot against Naz. Maybe it will be them, maybe someone else, but either way, they're going to be very, very close to that position. And well, let's find out.
Yeah, it doesn't get closer than this. You have KM Intro, probably one of the most, and this is going to be such a weird word that people aren't going to expect me to use, but an exquisite fighter. He is an exquisite taste of fighter that just has these combinations, this footwork, this movement, this kind of style that just plays with your head that you're not even sure what you're looking at. And then in the red corner, you got Keza La, the man who played with an iPhone 14 to screen mirror his game and still managed to win the main event. Doc, this is literally, Doc, this could be a title fight. Like, let's say it like it is. If Naz was not here and not the champion, one of these two men would be the champion.
Quite possibly. You do have Trixie, you do have Dave, two of very well adjusted people and make life difficult for across the board for anybody who comes across their way. So yeah, but these two would be entitled contendership nonetheless. And I don't think you can say this as much as you. Intro is a madman when it comes to striking, but Keza, this man will take you down and just put out a knee bar. No word of a lie. If he gets you down and he's got the ability to set up a knee bar, he will set up a knee bar. He doesn't care. And as you can see right now, it looks like Intro is standing very well adjusted on the back foot. He's looking to play it down, but Keza doesn't care. He's just firing every shot from which getting a knockdown. He doesn't care for distance. He just wants to brute force it and force you to really just be desperate to get him to back off you here.
Yeah, and Keza's doing such a great job. I'm really invested in this fight, though, just because of how close the skill level is. And right now, we're looking at KM Intro's head health being really badly hurt, and Keza seems to be on point. Oh my goodness!
Oh my God! Jesus! Well, I was gonna say we have 5 rounds on the clock, but Keza doesn't need 5; he needs 1.
I'm speechless, Doc. Doc. I'm speechless.
I think our intro was longer than the fight.
Yeah, the loading screen was longer than the fight.
I mean, no offense to Intro by any means. Gee, Keza came out and just... Yeah. Keza came out and put on a performance. That's all that had to be said. He put on a performance, he made his name, evidently annoyed over the title shots, and he just came out here and played like all held loose. I want to... Maybe we get to see, look at statistics? Nope.
Mate, like, no one does that to Intro. Like, literally nobody. Yeah. Intro does that to people. Like, no one does that to him.
Yeah, this is very true. Intro is not a man easily killed. The man will stick around for over and over and just give you grief upon grief. And Keza made him look like easy work, to put it bluntly. He made Intro look like he was nothing, but Intro is not nothing. Intro is one of the best strikers about. The man who will give you money for anything. He will make you pay for any missed shots, and any time Keza was there in that pocket, he did not miss a shot. He was always aggressive. He brute forced it. He didn't want anything technical going on in that fight, and he proved that there by just bulldozing through it.
Keza right now, this season 4, he is a threat. And we've said that, right? We said, like, there's that one guy every season that's a threat. One last season was Dirty Dave. Season before that may have been Fadinator. This season, I'm telling you now, Keza is a serious problem for anybody right now. And we're only like 5 weeks into the season, and Keza is just handing out L's like they're free.
Well, with that type of performance out of the way and done and dusted, an impressive performance to understate it even slightly. We're going to move on to a co-main event of this evening. This time round, we're going to be having intro? No, we're going to be having Lilo versus Driz. Sadly, Rara got stuck on that train. That was the highly anticipated co-main. Instead, though, Driz is stepping in on a loss to Keza from last week. And this time around, we're going to see these two. We're going to see Robbie Lawler versus Marvin Vittori here tonight.
Yeah, you can only assume that Robert Whittaker was banned. Do you know what, Doc, right? I was thinking this a little bit earlier on today because I was watching a Vittori fight. The man has actually got hands in this game and he can actually stand with the best of people. And Robbie Lawler is a better counterpart at middleweight than he is at a welterweight, even though he's both 4 stars. It just goes to show you that that one performance in real life against Nick Diaz really made him a 4-star pick within this division. That, Doc, he's been in this division for ages and no one's been using him. People have been using Kevin Holland before they used Lawler. Now he's becoming a very, very
sure
big issue.
He was good before the Diaz fight.
Oh yeah, no, he was. He was definitely good, but people never used him at middleweight. Like he was always good, and then he was added to middleweight, and people were kind of like, "Ooh," but you still never see him at welterweight. It's crazy.
Well, wasn't he middleweight before Diaz?
I don't believe so. Was he? Because weren't they doing that add-ons by Fight Class?
I can't remember. It was so long ago. Nonetheless, Lawler is one of the best picks now. He's competitive against even the likes of Whittaker, and here we are though with an early takedown by Lilo, taking it straight down to the ground. He wants nothing to do on the feet. He just wants to make it down and dirty, playing any type of aggressive game he can. It should be noted though that Driz has done a fantastic job at building the GA across the board and getting the top mount deny, then a full guard deny there. If you're Lilo here, you want to be careful, you want to be patient, you want to be building up the GA yourself and making sure not to overextend your gas tank either. It's got a stun though. Elbow.
It's a very early stun. Beautiful pull elbow. That's a great pull elbow. I'm a fan of the pull elbows myself, Doc. And right now, Lilo once again trying to take this fight to the ground. Clearly, Doc, he sees maybe a chink in the armor of Driz.
This is reminding me of Rara's fight from last week, interestingly enough. Rara came out and looked fantastic in the way he handles his opponent. It was very much chaos in action. He shot a takedown, did a bit of damage, ended up back on the feet, shot another takedown, did a bit of damage, got back on the feet, blitzed him, got down, then and it was just a rinse and repeat of that type of style. And it's looking like Lilo's trying to implement that type of style, maybe because he was expecting Rara and expecting to use that style himself, but instead he's now had to implement it against a different opponent who seems very well versed in terms of the grappling and getting denials. He has got to be wary of the denials. As you can see, that stamina is extremely low, and now an armbar coming out. If you're not careful here, you're going to have a couple of several issues. There we are, words.
Yeah, and you know what, he probably could have committed to that too, because he looked like the tracking was good. As long as he didn't get the slam, he would have been okay. It would have creeped up a little bit faster, but maybe he didn't feel too comfortable, even as a feeler out submission, Doc, right? Because you see a lot of that, especially so early on in the fight. If you can get a feeler out of a submission, but then again, maybe it was just to kind of say, hey, if you try to take me down, I have this waiting for you.
Yeah, and by the looks of it though, Lawler's very good at holding that full guard, but as soon as Vittori gets out of that full guard position, he has a lot more difficulty, and that's probably the core concept of what Lilo wants to be subjecting here is making sure that he's not ever in that full guard position to get denied, so he doesn't risk the substrates. Did look like though that Driz has done a fantastic read on making sure to not get hit by the overall top mount or the ground and pound itself, and maybe that's going to be Lilo having to adjust and figure out a different pattern he wants to use. Maybe just go only for hooks instead of straights, and as I say that, he does just go for hooks here.
Yeah, it looks like the head health of Robbie Lawler is going down a little bit more. That head health for Driz so early on going down in this fight, it's really opened up a case for Lilo to say, okay, I know that now I can rock him and really hurt his head health. So let me test this grappling. Let me see what this is about. Let me see if he can deny things and see if he can reverse me. It's all about feeling your opponent out. But when you're wrestling each other, you get really more of a game plan than a feeler out process, because now we know, Doc, especially from the end of that round, that Driz has got very, very good guard. He's got submissions from that guard. And for Lilo to now be successful in his wrestling abilities, got to get out of that guard. He's got to at least be in half guard or side control to feel somewhat comfortable.
Yeah, well, Driz already starting out very quick here. A couple of jab straights and a lead hook following suit there as well. A rear hook. If you're Lilo, he definitely feels threatened by that strike, and you can tell by the way his movement is. It's very stiff, it's very defensive. He doesn't want to engage in it, and that's giving him a lot of grief there.
Yeah, but look at the head health for Lilo. It's barely been touched. He's taken so many shots on the block, and now he's prematurely firing back. You know, if he's throwing those jab hooks, he's got to make sure they're connecting, as that one did there, because if he misses one of them and Lawler comes over with a straight, it's going to be detrimental to his head health. But right now, he's doing the right things. He's even fighting off the back foot, circling now, pivoting off his foot, doing really well to get out of the straight strikes, and then looking for the takedowns when he has the right range. So he's fighting a lot smarter, but he's also being a little bit less effective because of that striking from Driz.
Jab, the hooks are all coming out in sophisticated range. Does get the leap around and now goes to the back here. Looking to drag him down, looking to that takedown, and that's what you're going to be doing if you're Lilo, but it's trying to find the right opportunity. If I'm Lilo, I'm probably going to be firing a jab, and I'm going to be diving for the leg straight afterwards. The issue is it's about if Lawler can catch you in between those two motions. The overhands was a bit wild, and making your opponent aggressive, that's a very easy, lovely takedown defense by Driz, and this is kind of what we've been capitulating up to for this entire fight. Is this striker versus wrestling style, and you can see how Lilo's is able to have a very effective wrestling from the striking.
Yeah, and it's been the same takedown for Lilo every time. He goes for the shot after the jab, and it makes that animation so much quicker, and you get a bit of a clunkiness to that animation, which makes it a little bit more difficult to deny. Lilo definitely knows this, has this in his back pocket, and now he's in a very dominant position. And for Driz, Doc, he's got to get up and have that success again on the feet, that pressurized success as he is right now.
Back up onto the feet, does decide to disengage. It should be noted, though, that Lawler's head health is a lot worse for wear than Vettori's, and I think overhands here are the right call for Lilo. He needs to keep it all nice and tight, not offer too much in terms of aggression or defense. Again, the jab, though, working fantastically, does get denied, and I think if you're Lilo here, you want to be starting to mix up your takedowns, work against the cage a bit more, use the teeps, get that distance, create that range, and then as your opponent walks back into your range, you can then shoot a double leg.
Yeah, and you can even see it right now, Doc, right? Lilo looks a lot more comfortable in the stand-up because he realizes how low that head health is and how low that stamina is. So now he can kind of have a bit more freedom with it. Okay, he can throw out more combinations, he can do more shots because he knows that Robbie Lawler's going to fade more often than he is. And right now, at the end of that second round, Lilo was looking very, very comfortable. A lot more comfortable than he was in round number one, Doc.
A lot more comfortable indeed. Looks like it's a stunner piece. It looks like that first round also went to the favour of Vettori. I want to say it's 2-0 overall into the favour of Vettori. So this last round is his round to really make himself known. The issue is the head health is low, but Lawler has a lot of power to boot. I think the main thing here is to try and make that read on that jab hook, as you can see there. That is Lilo's main tool, and he's using it very effectively, and it's the way to counter it, to get around it, to make a read. And that head kick landed beautifully there. Jesus Christ.
We're getting close now, Doc. We're getting to the desperation point of the fight. We're getting to the point of the fight where Driz now knows that he is down 2 rounds, and he needs to put this man away to have a good win here tonight, and a comeback win of sorts. He has to use that lead hook, because Vettori is circling off to the weaker side. If he can use that lead hook to kind of break the block a little bit and then come with a straight like that, Doc, he's going to have a lot more success as he is right now.
It really is. And a front kick there coming to jab straight also following, and then a hook around the side. Jesus. These two are having a brawl and a half.
Yeah, this has gotten to the point now where Driz has just been like, you know what, I don't care what happens, I need to win this fight, I have to go for broke. And Lilo recognized that when the stamina was low, shot him for a takedown, and knew he could get it off the turn of takedown, which makes it 10 times more harder to deny when you're gassed, because sometimes you can chain it, sometimes you just get them down straight away because they are so gassed. So that's very good fight IQ from Lilo there.
Yeah, and that's what you want always. You always want to be in that position to do it. Now, he goes back into half guard, which is where he wants to be. He's always had a lot of difficulty throughout this entire fight with the full guard. He's been denied so many times and breaking through it. An armbar attempt, interestingly, I feel like this is more to waste time. Maybe get a feel. I'm not particularly sure because the stamina isn't anywhere near into the favour of Lilo at all here, and it's looking like it may just be a time waster. Maybe get a feeling out, I'm not too sure, but as the clock goes on, it seemed more like just a waste.
Yeah, I think it was just to waste time and just score some points, and then just before the transition, cancel it so you can stay on top. And it's very smart, all right, because it does waste time, and you know you're going to maintain that top position before you transition. It's very, very smart from Lilo. Right now, he's just making it dirty, grinding on him, and just basically making it such a hard fight. And Driz is kind of stuck right now. Driz is kind of to the, and Doc, you have to imagine that Driz has got to be so frustrated after getting that head kick rock and then getting taken down, and then this happens to you for the rest of round 3.
Yep, and with 40 seconds left on the clock, an interesting time where he didn't get the escape bar. Maybe you see a guillotine attempt here, but it does get denied. And with 25 seconds left on the clock, that's another deny. And you got to imagine if you're Lilo here, you're just going to cruise out to the end.
Yeah, I'd say Lilo has done very, very well in this fight. I think he's fought a very smart fight because he was getting pressured very, very early on from Driz, who looked really good in round 1 with the boxing. And then you had to see Lilo adapt to that. And Lilo was one of the first guys tonight to really use his wrestling to that effect, to really nullify another fighter's kickboxing, Doc.
Yeah, well, we did just see Lilo ruin the decision there. It was a win by Lilo. Hopefully they're able to show us the decision scorecards, I hope. Maybe we get to see that. We saw the overall round stats. I'm interested to see what the judges scored yet. Sadly, I think Bruce Buffer has decided to become a mute for a period, so you can't hear them. So hopefully we get to see the statistics. Fingers crossed, at least.
Hopefully, I'd love to see the statistics. I'd love to see what the judges scored that.
Yeah,
more so than that. I would really be interested to see now if that was a split. But I feel like it may be a unanimous 29-28. I feel like that was such a close fight. He could give Marvin Vittori the whole 3 rounds, but then again, like it's based off of damage. I see it's so tough to know, but it's one of those that we're not going to get to see it anyway. So we're going to get to just make it up ourselves, though.
Yeah, it seems so. It definitely is one of those ones where it's very much, you don't know who's won what round, but you know for a fact that someone's won some round, and maybe it was a split decision, maybe it wasn't. As you mentioned, damage plays such a big factor in this game. It's always very difficult to, especially in terms of the grappling when not much damage is landed, to really properly be able to score it.
Yeah, that was one of those, like if this was real life and we had just watched that fight, it would be very difficult to know who to give that win to apart from round number 3. Because the only thing I'm certain of is Lilo won round number 3. The first 2, you might as well just pick a name off a score sheet on which guy you like more. Because personally, I wouldn't like to be judging that, but I would say that's a unanimous 29-28 if it was me.
You never do know, but for all we know is the fact Lilo won that fight. And with that leads us into our main event of this evening. Up next, we'll be having Conor McGregor versus Leon Edwards, STK Marshall versus STK Lewis, also known as Twisted Batman, which I've got to admit is a one hell of a PSN.
It is, and a fun fact about Lewis, Twisted Batman, he has never changed that. He has never, ever in his life changed that PSN. That has been his PSN since I have known him on Discord for the longest time. Me and Lewis go way back. I've been in older leagues with Lewis. I've known Lewis since I came onto Discord, and I've seen Lewis really grow as a competitor and fought Lewis before we were in the same camp. So we definitely have that kind of background to where we know how each other play. And STK MarsalRivial War is obviously a brand new pickup for us. It's a solid pickup for us. He's such a great lad to have around. He's so calm and cool and collected. He's just fun to be around. The conversations you can have with that man are absolutely brilliant. And Doc, STK, made primetime history tonight, because STK have now become, I think, at least to my knowledge, we have been the people to open up a card and close a card in terms of where we fight. I opened the card with Storm many I think it was nearly a year and a half ago, and now STK are closing the card, so that's cool. That's kind of a cool little thing.
Fair enough. I'm not sure who else has done that. There's probably been a couple others. The amount of cards we put on this is our 59 fight night. Okay.
Nah, we're the first.
Fair enough. Anyway, these two are classic striker v striker matchup. Probably one of our few of tonight. They're not looking to grapple. They're looking for each one. As I say that, as I say that, I'm tempted fate. Cross the margins, and should be noted the MarsalRivial already has a massive stamina deficit, and it's only been like 2 minutes.
Yeah, this is literally Lewis's game. If no one's ever seen Lewis fight live, or even on a pre-recorded card, Lewis is one of those guys that has a certain style of play where he'll move forward until you start moving forward, and then he plays out the back for the whole fight. And Doc, he literally just tickles your body for the whole fight. It's his whole game plan. He just literally will pick apart your body and make it to the point where you just want to be out of there, that your stamina is so low. And he lets people punch themselves out as well, because he's done it to me. He's let me go nuts, and then just I've been gassed, and he's just picked me apart. But MarsalRivial War is doing such a good job at keeping that distance, but he needs to bring it down a little bit, Doc, right? It's a 5-round fight, and he's using Conor McGregor at welterweight. He needs to bring it down a little bit.
Yeah, you don't want to be too aggressive. That's your main concern here, because as you can see, that gas tank's already kind of ruined, and if you're not careful, that was a lovely counter with that straight. I would definitely gone for a hook personally on that counter. Straight to the head, done damage, probably would have got a stun, maybe a knockdown, and that's what you're looking for to score early especially. But to each their own, I suppose. As we do though, it's definitely seeming like, as you mentioned, that he wants to play on that back foot now because McGregor's pushing forward, and it's that tug of war game that he seems to know very fluently here.
Yeah, both men are doing such a great job. Both men want to take the center. So this is what I'm seeing so far. Both men want to take the center and go first. There's not going to be a lot of counter striking here, because both men are kind of taking shots on the block and then wanting to go. Lewis doing a bit more of a better job digging to the body. MarsalRivial needs to kind of maybe, you know, start popping out single shots, maybe a couple of lead hooks, because Lewis will kind of lead. Lewis has a habit of leading off to the side. Maybe Marshall can expose that if Lewis was to lead off. I don't know how I'm supposed to really call this fight, Doc, because I don't want to see anyone lose. I don't want to give tips away. I kind of just want to enjoy it, because, like, I know people will be saying, oh, when you have two guys from the same camp, it's a spar. Trust me, it's not a spar. This is not a spar. These two men are in the prime time main event.
As someone who has done it way back when in season 1 of Xbox, as part of the ICB camp, fighting teammates of mine, I mean, maybe it depends, but for the most part, if you're both wanting to look to take a win, if this is for arguably a title shot, which I imagine this is, if not, it's very close to being one. It's not by any means a spar. This is a fight for the ages. This is a fight to determine who's better within this one match, to see who then goes on to progress and who's got to then take a reset, who's got to adapt again to really put on the pressure here.
Yeah, and it's really cool to see the STK camp, you know, showing off in the main event. I remember when I was competing in prime time, it was always really cool for me to be the co-main or the main event, you know, especially being new. PlayStation was very, very new at that point. You guys had just let PlayStation come in. It was an all Xbox league. So for me to be able to do that was pretty cool. It was kind of like a changing of a guard for the PlayStation to come in, and now you're seeing so many good lads coming from the main events of prime time from the PlayStation, and it's just cool to see two STK members in here just doing their thing, having fun, having a good fight. And it really is a good fight. Lewis is looking sensational tonight. He's just picked McGregor's body apart, and he's really making MarsalRivial miss, and Marshall is kind of getting wise to it, and he's noticing, like, you can see Lewis even just there ducking off to the side. He's done it twice in a row.
Jesus. Yeah, he's ducking, he's making reads, and both of them are, and it's a technical battle during through. It's not pressure heavy as you described in the intro. I mean, it is pressure heavy to a point, but it's not aggressive, forceful pressure. It's technical. Who's going to go what way? Who's going to fire the first shot? Who's going to find that hole? It's about finding an opening, as you can see, with all the fakes, with all the single type of strikes. It's nothing major as that front kick clobbers through, digs down to that body, and another body kick coming there. McGregor's stamina is coming down to halfway, and you're barely out of second.
Yep, and that's down to Lewis, because McGregor hasn't even been missing that much. And Lewis has just been able to put this type of... Lewis just has this style of play that, honestly, it's very like appealing to people to watch this style of play, and you can really see how you can gas an opponent out, and how he's so defensively sound. That's the best way I can put it, because McGregor's hitting him, it's mostly on the block, and then Lewis comes back and is just managing to be defensive. He's Mayweather. He's fighting like Mayweather, is the best way I can give it. And MarsalRivial is now fighting like McGregor in that fight. He's been over aggressive. He knows his stamina's down. He knows he's losing all the health, and he has to go for broke. And with Doc, we're only in round 2.
We really are, and who's going to be the one to break here? 20 seconds left on the clock, and it's looking like both of these men don't want to give up any aspects of their game.
Yeah, they really don't. You know, the good thing about this fight as well, right? You're really getting to see, like as you said, Doc, right? You've seen Marshall for forever. He's been around, as you said, Doc. He's one of the first men to be here. But then you see this, and we were talking about it earlier, in terms of seeing someone come from unaired to main event to winning. Like, Lewis is literally embodying that, and he's looking like a serious threat for Smudger, because Smudger fights like Lewis. Defensively sound, that Mayweather-esque type of combinations, a slow-paced fight, a burning-out, gassing fight. If them two fight, that's going to be the most technical fight, in my opinion, for prime time.
That was a lovely combo there. That was a lovely combo. But it just didn't get any damage off.
You see, because he's so gassed. Marshall has these great combinations to the point where, like, it's so confusing. I've seen Marshall fight. Marshall, in my opinion, is one of the top guys on the PlayStation side. He's so good, and I really enjoy watching him. It's just his stamina is so low, and you have to imagine, Doc, if he had even a fraction more, that's going to be a rock, if not a very, very close to being.
We're in the third round. Sorry to cut you off there. But we're in the third round, and Edwards has maybe, the start of round 1 stamina deficit? Very early on, maybe a bit of recovery. It's okay. That was a bit scary all of a sudden.
It's just Lewis. That's just Lewis. It's just how he plays. He knows the game inside out. And the thing about Lewis is, he doesn't even feel pressure. Because the one thing Lewis will always tell him, he always says, oh, wow. Well, Lewis made a statement. That's a statement. I hope the champion was watching.
Yeah, Jesus, that was impressive. That was beautiful. He every time though he went to the body, he kept going to the head, and I think that allowed it there. He managed distance, and his opponent misread it perfectly, and it's just, yeah. That was, no words can be spoken to describe that, just affliction for beauty, if you want to get really overly dramatic about it. It was fantastic performance across the boards and impressive non-stop. That was fluid in all aspects. MarsalRivial definitely tried his damnedest, but as you mentioned, Lewis was more afflictive, more fluid. He was just everything you wanted to see out of a top-tier striker there, and that's probably why he's made his way from the unaired to the prelims to the main card, to then also the main event here tonight. And yeah,
like Marshall, I love having in the camp. You know, he's a great asset to our camp. He's one of the best kickboxers on PlayStation right now, and he's a pleasure to have. And he's so new to the camp as well that he's going to get to spar different people and really pick up different patterns. Got some great kickboxers, some great boxers, some great wrestlers. The one thing I will say is, and this is going to sound so soppy, I'm actually very, very proud of Lewis, because I have seen him since the start of Discord. We were together for the longest of times in different leagues, and we're pals. So to be able to see him now where he is after that a 1.5-year journey, I'm just very happy for him, very proud of him.
Yeah, you've got to be, because that was an impressive performance across the board. Now, like, with all that being said, from this fantastic card across the part, this is it's been a hell of a fight of nights. It's been an impressive performance across the board. A lot of strikers, a lot of wrestlers. But with that being said, that is us done for this evening. Catch us tomorrow, 3:30 Eastern, 8:30 BST, for the pay-per-view of 2 title fights, both the Xbox and the PS. But with that being all said and done, that is us out. Stick around for the raid at the end, and have a good night.